Today, the movie was brought to you by KTL. Before we get into the movie, I'm gonna let everybody introduce themselves. My name is Showtime Slim. Who else we got in the building?
It's
Yo,
the
you can hear
boy
me?
Black Roots nigga.
Yeah,
Nigga
we hear
John.
you in the background.
Look.
Yo, my
Yeah,
bad.
it's Black Roots, man.
This is John Doe,
It's
man.
Black Roots,
Niggas gonna
man.
talk over each other.
We ain't-
All right, man. Next person. What the fuck?
Yo, it's Bob Celeste, man. I'm off the goop. Let's go,
All right.
man.
Yeah, John Doe, Black Roots, Bob Celeste. Who else?
What's up, man? It's your boy John Doe. You already know what it is, man.
John Doe again. Who else?
What the fuck is going on?
The fuck, man?
Talk crazy.
Okay, I guess it's me. It's Big Lordy Lord. My internet might be a little ass today. Fuck Spectrum. Know what I'm saying? Spectrum, my bad. I didn't pronounce the C. We gonna get out there and tame some strange today, baby. Let's go. We gonna do that.
Perfect
Well,
movie
yeah.
for it.
And there goes one of our potential sponsors, Spectrum.
Some
We
strange,
have
dog.
no problem with you, yo. If you want to support the podcast, please reach out.
Yeah, man.
y'all
Man,
can fix
fuck
my
them
shit,
niggas.
motherfuckers.
All right, man. Today's movie was chosen by KTL. We will probably have spoilers in this episode. I think we do every week, so we will have spoilers in this episode. So, KTL, go ahead and give the summary
All
of this
right,
shit. We can
man.
get talking
Simple
about it.
synopsis. We're gonna keep it short and sweet. You know what I'm saying? Bradley Cooper plays a man named Pat Solitano Jr. You know what I'm saying? Pat was he previously worked at a school with his wife Nikki, and he at the beginning of the movie is in a mental institution because he had some type of psychotic break and damn near beat a motherfucker to death who also worked at the school who was in there fucking his wife. So his mother and I guess his father also decide to get him out of the mental institute, and he's trying to, fix his life and get back with his wife, because they're still married. During this time, he meets Tiffany, played by Jennifer Lawrence, and they have some type of a connection. He's trying to get back in contact with his wife, even though she has a restraining order on him. And Tiffany is able to get his letters to his wife. However, in return, she wants his help with a dance competition. She's a dancer. Oh, and also, she's mentally messed up apparently because she had a police officer husband who died. So yeah, they're trying to do this dance thing. He's trying to get his wife back, and a lot of drama, a lot of comedy ensues. Man, anything else I missed?
Nope. Nah.
I think that's
His pops was Robert De Niro. That was
Shout
probably...
out Robert De Niro, man. Chris Tucker was in the movie. You know what I'm saying? A good cast, man. That's really the first thing we can address, man. How'd y'all feel about the performances within the movie?
I feel like Chris Tucker was there for no reason. Be honest.
That's fair. Okay.
I feel like there was a lot of extra components to this movie that didn't really need to be there. To be quite honest. Chris Tucker was one of them. I think this was around the same time that Chris Tucker came out with that trash comedy special. So I guess this was around the time he was trying to, make his way back onto the scene and shit like that. Clearly it didn't work. But yeah. I mean there was parts that I fucked with, like when he was like when they was in the dance studio or whatever, he was trying to like help them and shit. Like I fucked with that part. But,
I think that's his only important part for real. Like
yeah,
that part
for real.
Like, necessary. But
I
everything else
mean, that's the really important part when he went when he came back home, when he came back to
yeah,
Pat House.
I think so. Because wait, you said what? Which part?
You didn't feel like that was important when he came back to Pat House, and then the officers came to get him, and he was like, "Nah, like I did my shit the right way this time." You didn't feel like that was
not really, because they did that, and then I was like, okay, Danny. His name was Danny. I was like, okay, Danny got out, and he sit down for a few seconds. Then they come take his ass back. I'm like, okay, that wasn't nothing. And so I don't think it's that necessary. Like if that part wasn't in there, it probably wouldn't have changed much. You know what I'm saying?
I think Chris Tucker did a good job, man. I think that, you know what I'm saying? I think he probably, in my opinion, had the least impactful of the main characters. but I
Right.
think that he played his character very well, and I think his character was important to certain things within the movie. You know what I'm saying? I think like him being there helped shine a light on how like other characters. You know what I'm saying? His pops is like a weird. Pat's pops is like a weird, superstitious, motherfucker.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like
That scene was okay. I mean, that part was okay. That's the
yeah,
same part Pooh was talking about.
you get to
When they
see
did
where
that,
like
yeah, that was
go
okay.
ahead. No, you can go ahead.
That's his whole character to being superstitious. Like that's his
Yeah,
whole
like
shit.
hey, Robert De Niro did a great job at his
Yeah, he
character.
wig.
I agree.
You know,
He played himself, but he
yeah, he
always
did. He was just
but
himself, bro.
he
Like with
wig
some
though.
fucking like
Yeah,
superstitious team juju. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
There was a in which this is what made me notice like the clear difference between young Robert De Niro and old Robert De Niro. There was a point where, and anybody who knows or is familiar with his work, he played the mobster and whatnot in a lot of movies and whatnot. You know,
Mm-hmm.
fucking what's that shit? Goddamn,
Goodfellas.
Goodfellas and all that. Goodfellas, Casino, all that, right? And then he's made this like drastic change to, the Family Guy. He's still
Italian dad. Like he has
yeah,
another movie
Italian
coming
dad,
out
like Meet the
soon where he's
Fockers and
going to
shit
play
like
that
that.
same character. Like
Exactly, and there's not a whole lot of like, not character, but actor rebrands that I fuck with, but I definitely fuck with his.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's fire.
yeah, facts. I think Robert De Niro did good, as well as like how KTL mentioned. I think Bradley Cooper and Jennifer Lawrence did really great as like the
Amazing.
lead,
They
the
had
two
great
leads in this
chemistry,
movie.
I feel like, bro.
Yeah, every time they was on scene together, like my bad, every time they was on screen together, that shit was like really good to me. But also, Jake was his brother. Did y'all recognize that dude?
I
His
No,
name
do,
is
but I can't
Shea
remember what
Wiggum.
I've seen him in. Like
What
I've
was
seen him
he
in a
in?
few things, but I can't think of nothing specific.
Okay, so he was in The Lincoln Lawyer, which we also reviewed. He played the little snitch dude that they brought to court.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah.
was
Yep.
That was him.
Yeah,
he
that was
played that,
him. He's
and
played in the A-Team, I remember.
he was
Uh,
also in American Hustle, which was a movie that had Jennifer Lawrence and Bradley Cooper was also in that movie too. So they all three of them
mhm.
played in that movie too, which
Yeah,
actually came out in 2013, a year after this.
he's been in Fast and Furious too. Yeah, he's been in a lot of shit
Facts.
now that I can remember.
Oh
But
man. Before I
go ahead.
forget, I know y'all niggas not big horror niggas like that, but they had like a little I don't know if it's product placement or if it's like a fake ass cameo. I don't know what it is, because Bradley Cooper was in both movies, but when he we skipping ahead a little bit, but when she walked out the little diner and shit and he was chasing her,
Mhm.
they had pause 30 times. They had like Midnight Meat Train at the top of that bitch. Like they
At
was
the
playing.
movie?
Yeah, when they walked out, that they said Midnight, and then it was an M, then it said
Your
train
mic
at
is
the
ass.
bottom. Oh my god.
Yeah. No, you good. Yeah. But yeah.
As soon as he got to talking about midnight meat, that shit fell apart.
Yeah, that's
G.
a sign.
But they yeah, that
What she
is
said
like
about the signs in the movie.
I didn't notice that, man. But yeah, shout out to, like I say, man, Bradley Cooper. Like I think whenever this movie dropped, like this was kind of like he was going through a redefining phase, and this was like one of the movies where like it really kind of helped get him back, lit and
So
shit.
I think that all like the characters were like really good, and I don't know how much is their personal, like how they are as people, but I
Mhm.
felt like, so it's comedy and it's drama at the same time. So like there's a playfulness that the actors need to have while simultaneously also able to convey a wide range of emotions. And so I thought like this movie, one thing it did very well was make it so that the comedy didn't make me take the drama less serious and vice versa. Like the movie had points of like real awkwardness, like points of like sorrow and shit. And like I thought like the actors were able to like, finesse those, those moments, and especially for the main character, because I felt like his face is already so like, monotone. So his character is like socially awkward and shit. It kind of reminds me of The Accountant, uh, where you can
Yeah.
kind of play this like sort of stoic dude and also have like an emotional depth to you. So I thought the lead did that in this film as well. I thought it was excellent.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
and I think that was
Oh, good.
like Bradley Cooper has played in like other things where like he's been more like emotionally diverse, but I think that was an intentional choice for this movie. You know what I'm saying? Like his character was supposed to like I think I looked at, like I read online and I think like he's like undiagnosed bipolar. The his shrink told him, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like things of that nature. So like he's playing somebody that's not mentally there in the same capacity that Ben Affleck was playing the accountant. You know what I'm saying? So like you kind of gotta have like a different range of emotion there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, I think they did a real good job at well, not they, but him. He did a real good job at showing what those episodes look like. You know how abrupt they can be and how wild it can be, especially when it comes
Mm-hmm.
to dealing with family. The difference between dealing with family and dealing with those type of episodes in public. I think there's 3 or 4 times where he has a full out episode,
Mm-hmm.
and you can see like his brain is going into that fight or flight that it goes into whenever he hears this song or he thinks he hears this song, which is my favorite. I can't remember the name of it, but it is definitely my favorite Stevie
Stevie
Wonder
Wonder.
song that they had
My
playing.
my Sherry
Shout out
Moore.
Stevie
Heavy and
Wonder.
They
more. Yeah.
But
like
Yeah.
go ahead.
oh, no, go ahead.
No, like I think one thing that they did a good job in this movie as well, like the like Pat and Tiffany and shit, like they're fucked up like mentally, but like the people around, like they didn't just like make it to where they're freaking out for no reason. No, the people around them are also fucked up. They're being dickheads at times. You know what I'm saying? Like his brother's sitting there telling him like, yeah, you lost your wife. My marriage is great. Like you did this. Like I'm doing this. Like and like his dad got to be like, hey, like can you settle down with all the shit that's good for you and bad for him? Like people like they're saying like bad shit, like whenever he goes to the dinner and he's wearing a jersey and the dude wife is like, you know what I'm saying? She throwing like little slick shade and shit. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
I feel
Like
you
all
on
those
that, to
types
be
of
honest,
things. Like,
and I think this actually kicks it to what you guys were saying about Chris Tucker. Now, I agree that Chris Tucker had a kind of running gag with showing up and having a new mouthful of circumstances that gets him back in the pen, but I think what this movie was trying to convey in their sort of mental health advocacy thing was kind of like the importance of a support system. So they had like a wide range of characters with their own, hopes for, the main character for Pat. And I think Chris Tucker was introduced as just like somebody who could be like a buddy or something like that in that system. So having him on screen, kind of, being on the same page with him or whatever is important in kind of how they develop Pat in this movie. You got a bunch of people around him trying to push him in the right direction and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Have him come over to the dance studio and support Pat or whatever. So
Facts.
yeah, this movie they definitely had like the idea was that all the pressure and shit that somebody who's struggling with that shit would have, they were trying to show what that pressure is like. You know what I'm saying? So,
Mhm.
one
yeah.
message that I've always liked that this movie has conveyed, and I may have addressed this, but this will be the last time I really address it, is that like, that from the outside looking in on a surface level, you see like Pat is like bipolar, Tiffany got whatever like she has, you would diagnose it as, but it's not just them. Like everyone in the movie is fucked up. His dad has like OCD, with that superstitious shit. Danny got like whatever split personality shit that he got. His mom, Pat's mom, got some type of like little shit that she got going. Like all of these people are fucked up in a different capacity. You know what I'm saying? And it shows that like in humanity and the way that like real life works, we've probably never seen a non-damaged adult. Everybody's got their shit that they deal with, whether it be mentally or emotionally, etc. Like, and I think that that's like a really good message that was sent, in my opinion.
So one thing I was gonna say about just like kind of the movie, like was that they used like cringe really well. Like so a lot of people nowadays use the term cringe, and I know that it's like this, kind of nerdy word that people use to describe some shit they don't like. But
Mm-hmm.
I always try to get to the bottom of like what do people actually mean when they say cringe, and I think cringe is a word I like to use in terms of what I think somebody's gonna mean when they say it. I think it's kind of like a interpersonal sort of discomfort that we have in response to something cliche or unfashionable. Like, And I think that what this film does is they give the viewer a lot of like awkward fucking moments, like
Yeah.
and you kind of just have to like watch through it. And like there were so many times I'm like creasing my face because of how awkward like what's happening is.
Mhm.
From the
Yeah.
diner to just like the other public meltdowns. I was always like, like I had to look away, like I was secondhand embarrassed for the for the main character.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But you know what, Luna? I agree. I feel like it was a lot of intentional awkwardness that was put there to kind of like show like the mental instability of these two leading characters for sure. However, I feel like that's the part that was kind of funny to me at first, and I look at that like it when I found out this was like a romance comedy, I wasn't expecting that. I feel like that was more of like a darker type of comedy because I'm really finding their mental instabilities to be the thing that's amusing me. Like how they was out there, the conversations they were having with each other.
Yeah, they're just
And
saying fucking any type of crazy shit to each other. You know what I'm
but
saying?
KT,
Like,
by like the third argument they had, I was like, okay, yeah, this shit, I
this
actually
is how
like
they
this shit.
are. Yeah.
But I
Third?
actually liked it. Like at first, it was like
Oh, okay.
it was weird. Like I know that they're doing this on purpose, making them scream and yell at each other, say whatever the fuck.
Mm-hmm.
By the third time, I'm like, okay, yeah, this shit is actually entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I feel like it's a comedy for sure. I feel like the first half of the movie was more of a darker side of comedy. It's not just the average shit that we see in a
It takes
comedy
you a minute
movie.
to get used to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like what you're
Now
watching.
towards the middle to the end, it kind of tapered off from that. But I feel like the first half of the movie was a lot of intentional awkwardness and just I'm laughing because how insane these people are acting type shit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I don't know.
Is
I
my
want
mic?
to. I want to address. I want to. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go
you
ahead,
good, boss.
You good?
I didn't I ain't really see it like that. I really wasn't laughing that much in the beginning. Like I seen it through people who's like who really have these issues and really go through shit like this. Like I ain't really like. Of course, it was funny moments, but I was like, I'll try to put myself in a situation, like how when he met her, he it was so that shit was just so awkward, bro. And I just like
Yeah, it was definitely awkward and a lot of like moving parts. Like there's so many things that's wrong with this situation. I mean, his family life is falling apart. He has a little restraining order and he's simultaneously trying to get in contact with that girl. In addition to that, he's like running
awkward.
down the street, trying to do shit or whatever else. And so
And when he meets her, they had like his partner house, and his partner got a fucked up marriage. You know what I'm saying? Like,
like
Yeah.
he's awkward in his personal relationships and stuff. Like so, but one thing I'll say is that they gave him some virtuous pals. Like the dude whose house he went over to, like bro is still cool with him even after like some of the shit that he be saying, or like when he came over to the crib for the game, and bro was just like, "You're the one with the messed up marriage." Like,
yeah.
and this dude just like took
The
that, gave him
mom
a
said,
new
"What's
iPod.
wrong with your marriage?" He said, "There's nothing wrong with my marriage. Everything's fine." Like that shit was funny,
They
man.
gave him some redemptive ass friends, bro. Like,
Yeah.
Hey, that reminds me. Hold on, Slim. That reminds me. Did y'all fuck with the doctor, like the therapist?
No,
that
that's
was
what I was gonna say, KT. You probably finna say the same shit I'm finna say, so go ahead, bro.
No, go ahead, bro. Because I don't think I am.
I feel like as a nigga who studies psychology and shit, of course I ain't on the level as no fucking therapist, but to play the song that triggers this man as he walk, what the fuck you thought was gonna happen?
Nah,
Well, he said-
that was messed up, bro.
I get it, but he said he was trying to see if it was still a trigger. I
Yeah.
get what
Come
you mean,
on,
though.
bro. Don't play that
I get what
shit.
you mean, but I'm saying like he said, well, because look, maybe it wasn't a trigger anymore. Then he wouldn't have reacted to it.
Let's just avoid that song for the rest of that man's life, bro. Don't play that shit. Like, what's wrong?
But okay, from a perspective of
That's
that, though,
definitely a real thing
avoidance.
too. Like motherfuckers
Yeah,
get
it
like
is.
PTSD from
but
songs
it's
and
well,
shit.
it's supposed to be with the consent of the person. So under any ordinary circumstances, you obviously wouldn't do that. I think that the therapist could have endangered the people in the waiting
Facts.
room by
Exactly,
just
bro.
doing that shit with no header or no note. So maybe it's the case that when he left the Baltimore facility that the psychiatrist wasn't really aware of the level he was quite at. And part of that owes to the fact that he left on like a court order that was, applied for without the consultation of the doctor. So when he came home, that's why his parents were like, did the doctor say it's cool to come home?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so maybe the psychiatrist is like assessing because it's part of the deal, and he has no clue actually how well this dude is. So it was reckless, but I guess to his, to his,
His
credit,
method.
yeah, like I guess he didn't really know.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
and Pujols, I want to comment on what Pujols said. I see that perspective too, but also I don't agree with what you said about avoiding that song for the rest of his life, because I feel like what they did in this movie is they kind of showed the progression of him, from the beginning to the end, and part of that was him. Tiffany actually was the one that got him to that point, but he had to get over that
That
song.
song. Yeah.
He had to get over
Yeah,
that
it was
PTSD
Tiffany.
that he had. Yeah, and
Wait,
so
did he?
she
Did they
she
play
kind
it
of talked.
again?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
when he
go
was
through that scene
outside.
real quick because I actually wanted
They
to
played it
address
again?
that scene.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, actually they didn't. So the song
Yeah.
wasn't playing at all.
Yeah,
yeah,
After
it was
that's
the
what
sad.
yeah, so that's what I'm saying. They
He
didn't
was
play it
just hearing
again.
that shit in his head when he started to
understood,
freak
but this
out.
is this is the point in which that they were making in the movie as well. So after the diner incident or whatever, and she's walking away and she's all pissed off, and he's trying to level with her, and she's not fucking with him at all.
Said he was harassing
Does
me.
something really fucked up and says he's harassing me. She's a white woman. Even if he's a white man, this looks bad. He is harassing me in front of a
It's
bunch of people
Halloween
out
at
in
a
front of a
crowded
fucking yeah.
movie.
He's
It's
Like,
harassing
mad
me.
people outside and shit, and she just keeps screaming it over and over and over again. Then he
Hmm.
starts hearing this song in his head. Now,
Right.
if the fear for that song isn't in his head, he won't ever hear it, even if it's on. We walk around all the time. Music is playing almost everywhere all the time, and we don't
mhm.
even notice it.
Yep.
You notice it if you notice it, but if you don't, you don't. You know what I'm saying?
But you know
So
what? Like,
I don't know if I agree
there
with
was
that.
this one thing that what's her name, Tiffany, was putting over Pat's head a lot, and like, we have our issues, but like I wasn't the one who's like institutionalized for it, and I think
Mhm.
she does a great job, like plot wise, of like justifying that claim. I mean, when he was having the episode outside that she caused, like a fucking asshole, like
uh,
she's the one who like kind of had him do the CBT thing with the breathing,
Mhm.
like. So I thought like that kind of showed that she sort of has experienced this and like has to calm herself down from triggers or whatever. Um,
Well, before that, the argument was based off the fact that like she was mad that he was like, oh, like I hope you didn't
he
tell
felt
her that I was
superior, bro.
like you, like I'm not as crazy as you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And she was
Yeah.
another
pissed behind that shit.
another thing too is that like even despite him like fucking up time and time again with like his insensitivity, like I feel like she's always like forgiven, and like I think like the chemistry between those characters was set up like from the fucking dinner that they met at,
Hmm.
and like from there I was just like rooting for that chick, whoever
Well,
Nikki
what
is,
she was
I did
saying,
not hope like he was gonna get back with her.
was like, like she was like, no, we're not like the rest of them. We don't lie. You know what I'm saying? We say what's on our mind, etc. So like, I think she like allowed a lot of that shit because like that's in the same manner that she is. But I will say, while we're talking about the argument, the outside the movie scene, that cop was a
Mm.
creep, boy. That cop was
Yo,
a
Facts.
that
creep,
cop.
Yeah,
man.
That
he
was
was
the
trying to
Yo,
pick
weirdest
her
fucking
up,
time you
bro.
could have did
he.
that, bro.
But look, I
That was his
guess.
partner, his dead partner's like former girl.
Yeah, but he tried to play off the fact that she was a quote unquote slut,
Slut, yeah.
and so
He
he
said,
was trying to
you're a
slide on her.
funny girl. Get your bitch ass out of
He
here,
was trying to
boy.
slide on her.
You want to
Hey,
have
But
but
a
you know
drink
what?
with
He
her?
redeemed
Funny.
himself because
Fucking
he was a
creep.
police officer, so Pat had to kind of let him talk to his bitch like that. But later on, when they were
that
at the
wasn't his
vault,
bitch though.
He
So
It
definitely.
I
wasn't.
know, not at the
so
time, not at
But
the time, not at the
even
time,
still,
not at the time.
he didn't really fuck with her. But like that nigga
Yeah,
handled
yeah,
that other nigga, the trench coat nigga with the
Yeah.
ball with the
That
ball
ball
spot,
That
motherfucker.
handled
shit
the
was
shit out that
He
funny as
nigga.
just
fuck,
texted
bro.
me. Like, that boy was
yeah.
It was
oh, with
funny.
that dude, that shit was just way too funny, son. And the crazy
And
thing is too,
I
that
do
other
like
dude was
even
a bitch,
along with
bro.
that scene, right? They actually progress with that scene later on whenever they have a little meltdown about the letter and shit.
mm-hmm.
And was it Pat gets a chance to address Tiffany's problem directly, and you say how many times, like how often you
You
text
call
that
him
nigga, right?
whenever you're
You call him
lonely.
when whenever you lonely
Right.
and shit.
And
And
he
so
was
I
right.
fuck with that part. I definitely fuck with that part. Like the majority of the movie, Tiffany is calling out him for his shit, but he gets a chance to call her out for her shit
Mm-hmm.
for a change.
Yeah, Yeah, I think they both it was like necessary for both of them to have to try to help the other one through the shit that they were going through. And
Yes.
so they did that, and they kind of showed us, as the movie was progressing along, we see the progression of the characters as well. And so we also get a peek at, well, me first, I see, obviously Tiffany is kind of falling for Pat. I thought I saw a glimpse of Pat kind of falling for her too when they did the little
Yeah.
montage where they were dancing. When they
Fact.
first started practicing the dancing shit. And then it went back to where Pat, this entire movie, was really obsessed with getting back with his ex. That was like his main focus of the movie. That was his goal. He wanted to get back with his wife.
Facts.
And so I like
Oh, go ahead.
I like how they showed us that progression, even as you go to the end of the movie. Like, I kind of predicted a lot of the stuff at the end. I knew what he was doing, even when he was talking to his wife. It's like they're showing us how he progressed from the beginning of the movie, where as soon as he got out the mental hospital, first thing he was talking about was his wife, Nikki.
Yes. Well,
At the
when
end
he
of the
sees
movie,
even in
yeah.
there reading a letter to her, you know what I'm saying?
Facts. And when they show us Nikki first getting there and he sees her, he's like, Nikki.
Hey,
Like,
she freaked the fuck out.
Yo,
Tiffany freaked
I
out.
was
she
freaking out when
she
that happened.
she was
Yo,
pissed.
Tiffany
That bitch
lost it,
said,
boy.
"What the fuck? What the fuck?"
She was
He said, "You're
pissed.
fucking
I was
killing
freaking
me."
out. The stakes keep on going so much higher, like
Hey,
throughout this
Luno,
movie, bro.
So did you catch? I'm sure like a lot of people probably caught, because right there, right before that, we see that Tiffany says something to him when
That was
they're
in
in
the
the
letter.
house. Yeah, when the pops was in there talking about the parlay and shit.
Reading signs shit.
Yeah.
She said the shit about the reading the
And
signs.
she had already said it like 2 times before then, if you pay
Right.
attention.
That's her phrase that she says.
Mhm.
And then he reads the letter, and she said that in the letter. And so it's like, okay, he realized that she wrote
She
this
been
letter.
lying,
It wasn't Nick.
you know, like
But
that
even
shit fake.
even before that, like he just was so eager and obsessed. Like, oh, girl was like, yeah, embrace yourself. Like, nigga, how the fuck did she read it if it's sealed up? Dummy,
Yeah,
she wrote it.
exactly.
But he was just so obsessed he didn't even think
Facts.
about all that shit. Like,
But
bro, that movie fire, man. It's pretty.
they
Yo,
I want to go ahead, Roots.
No, go ahead. All right,
No.
but sorry, I just want to address Pat's character at the beginning real quick. This nigga, and I understand he has a mental issue. All right, cool. Your man card is in question, my boy. This nigga walk in on his bitch
Yep.
with a fucking history teacher in the shower and shit.
It's tenure.
First wrong move. You beat the nigga up. If you beating that nigga up for anything other than being in your house, you wrong. That
He beat
nigga
that
just
nigga
trying to get
almost
some pussy
half to
just like
death.
I
anybody else,
don't
bro.
agree with
hold
you
on.
at all, brother.
Yeah, I don't agree either. And let me tell you why, Roots.
Oh, I'm sorry. And also because that nigga tried him like you need to leave, which
Exactly.
is not
Okay.
fair.
Yeah,
Never mind.
because
Which
I'm
is
about
not
to
fair.
say,
If
Now
it's for
I agree with
anything
bitch
other than
ass boy, you in
disrespecting
my
your
house,
crib,
and you tell me you think I should go while
I
you
was about
still
to say
yeah,
saying
you
no shit
fucking
in my
wild
bitch.
and Roots.
yeah,
Like,
I forgot about that part.
like,
But
yeah,
yeah,
I'll beat
so
you within
boom,
an inch of your life.
he beat that. Yeah, he beat that nigga up. That wasn't the reason why. He beat
Near
that
to
nigga up
death.
because he was fucking his bitch.
Near to death.
Yeah.
Wrong
Yeah.
move. Wrong move.
Mhm.
That's one. Two. This bitch leave you, put a restraining order on you
Yes.
after this nigga clearly disrespected you in multiple ways.
Mm-hmm.
But you steady trying to get back to her.
Yeah, that's the part
Like
that I
you
don't,
did, like you did something
I
wrong
don't
to
agree with.
her.
I think that's part of
If
the
any,
character, though,
yeah,
Roots. I
that
think
shit.
like that's the
It
I
point.
is.
understand that.
It
I
is.
understand that's part of the character, but that shit, I
Yeah,
don't
like
like
it's
how
definitely
I
some
don't.
bitch ass shit. You know what
Right,
I'm saying?
but they make guys like this in these type of movies all the time, where they
Yeah,
make
because
the
there are
dude a
guys
fucking
like that
simp.
that
Yeah, because
exist
they in
in
real
real
life.
life,
That's the fact.
bro. Like
Yeah,
motherfuckers
and
really
I
be
understand that,
like,
bro. I understand that, but when we gon' I don't know, whatever.
bro,
But
motherfuckers really
that
be
shit fucked with me. I didn't like
like
that shit.
motherfuckers really be out there like they bitch cheat on them and shit. You know what I'm saying? And like they start like looking at like, oh, what the fuck did I do wrong? You know what I'm saying? Like they be thinking that they like gonna get the bitch back type shit because they still fuck with her or whatever. And that's
Yeah,
definitely a real thing. But as
and
like
then
I think as the
I'm
movie
sorry. Go ahead.
progresses, you know what I'm saying? Like you start like he starts to realize like, you know, that like I don't need to be doing this shit. You know what I'm saying? What the fuck am I doing? You know?
Well,
Yeah, and her
he
character wasn't bro, just from how he spoke whenever I think Tiffany asked him, tell me about this marriage, right? And he starts talking about Nikki and shit. This
Mm-hmm.
nigga said, I want her to stop dressing a certain way and
Yes.
stop commanding me all the time.
Yes.
First of all, if you gotta tell her more than once, I don't feel comfortable with such and such, she don't respect you. So why the fuck is you doing all this in the first
But
place?
Roots, like I'm taking all this with a grain of salt. I think all of us from a bird's eye view could call it like how we see it and say like this
It's
dude
all
wasn't even in it.
perspective based.
Not even just that. I'm saying like the common sense viewer is gonna watch this and know he was in like a pretty toxic relationship. And even though he was having episodes and shit, which probably made the waters rockier than they had to be, we could all make the judgment. It's the point of the movie is that he had this like tragic situation and he's like part of a unique population that is engaging it in a certain way for their integrity. And I guess we got to be with them on that journey. I don't think I would have handled the situation to say,
Hey,
well,
bro.
but
I'm sorry, bro. Go ahead.
no, like what I'm saying, like I probably wouldn't want that person back. Me as the same person, I'm gonna say, we should be separated.
Right.
But that's something you gotta learn.
Motherfuckers, like, I've seen people cheat. I've seen people get cheated on, you know what I'm saying, with better and worse people than who they're with. But I'll say this. His wife cheated on him with an old ass bald history teacher. Like a motherfucker don't got no crazy job with a bag. He looks like a fucking old ass goofball. You know what I'm saying? At that point, like, there's a possibility that might have just been the time that he caught that bitch. You know what I'm saying? She might have like did a whole bunch of shit. But like, if my point being is that like, if she was fucking around with like, this dude who ain't got shit going for him, you know what I'm saying? She just doing that shit for the fuck of it at that point, I feel like.
Yeah,
But
but we didn't really get
She
into
had
that.
let me
to
not
do,
like
but
How do you
this is
know
not
he has shit going on? We didn't get into
this
his
is not a
character.
philosophical discussion about it. What I do want to talk about is I want to like, get through a few of the important scenes and then I guess we can give final thoughts and all of that, right? So first thing, I guess the first major thing, obviously, you know what I'm saying? He wants to find like the scene where he wants to listen or watch his wedding video, you know what I'm saying? And they got the tape hidden and shit. And he like freaks out. How y'all felt about that shit? Like, he's freaking out. His mom trying to stop him. You know what I'm
I think
saying?
that was their
that
his
was the
first,
first time we get to see like a full on episode. Like he have a little bit of an episode where he knocked the magazines down and shit.
Yeah.
But like this shit, like I've seen, like not personally, but like there's like videos or whatnot on YouTube and shit of the dynamic of a I'm sorry, I don't want to say the wrong thing. A mental illness person
Yes.
have this interaction with their family, not even just their family, their parents. Because even if they're a grown person, that's still their parent's child. So there's still a lot of the times they all treat it the same as if it's a child. You know what I'm saying?
that's why
And so
that's what they're trying to
seeing
do.
that dynamic of it, it made it more scary. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not dealing with a 7-year-old that, I don't know, how has Down syndrome or something like that. You're dealing with a full grown adult having a mental episode, which is
Bro,
much
one
more
thing
dangerous.
real quick, Roots, is
You
that
say
motherfuckers did a
Down
great
syndrome.
motherfuckers did a great job with the camera cuts and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like showing the real organized chaos of the whole thing. Like at one point it's him, like trying to find shit. Then it's another one he's freaking out, sitting on the bed crying. It's another one, he's like it's really just chaotic, and you're like, bro, what the fuck is
And
happening?
another
He threw a
insider on
book
those,
and broke a window.
Yeah,
right?
he threw that bitch out a window.
The Ernest Hemingway thing, I think, was just like the intro to the madness. But I think that when he was in that room having that meltdown, he don't like, I think like stimulus. I think a lot of times with like mental illness cases, there's like some type of way they don't like stimulus. Like, and I think as like the parents were getting louder, he was getting louder, and it was like a
Yes.
swelling moment. I thought they did that shit hella well, and it made it. It was like the first time you had like the heart drop drama in this film. Before
If I
then, it
may,
was a little bit tense and
Go
uncomfortable,
ahead.
but that there was like the dawning,
it's
I
the
think.
same vibe as on The Accountant. Whenever he was a kid and his mom was leaving and shit, and he freaked the fuck out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's
he
the
kicked
same
the hole in
type
the
of
wall and
vibe.
shit.
You know what I'm saying? It's the same type of vibe for real.
I will say Robert De Niro got on that nigga ass once he hit his mom's, bro.
Oh yeah, he started slapping him and all type of shit, and then he's
Slap the
telling his
piss out that
therapist
nigga, bro.
the next day. He's like, I wasn't hitting him back. I could have killed him. All this, like,
I believe
Yeah.
it.
Your dad was gonna beat the shit out you, boy. That's Robert De
I believe
Niro.
he could have killed him. Honestly, he
yeah,
definitely didn't
probably.
hit him
Like,
back. He didn't hit him
hey,
backwards.
and then his pops got on that little dude ass with the camera. The little dude walked up
Ah,
like,
yeah,
"Hey,
that shit was
can I
crazy.
film this
Walking
for a
down the
He
fucking?"
block,
ran the
and
dude
he
house.
cussed him out in front of his mom, bro.
Said, "I'll bash
Yeah,
that
that shit was
Fire.
crazy.
camera over your head. You can write a paper about how it felt to get that camera bashed over your fucking head."
Yeah, that was fire. That was a fire moment there. Obviously, that was intense there. I think the diner was also a huge moment
Yeah, I was about to
because
say, yeah, I was
they
gonna
did,
get
they
to
did something really bipolar, no pun intended, with the scene, and it like kind of fucked with me too because at one point I'm like feeling like the warmth, like the sparks are flying. They're realizing that they're kind of more similar in a lot of ways, and like they're setting us up for their eventual romance. But then he has like the one insensitive, comment that before the
Mhm.
movie scene, and when she smashed the shit off the table and that she was getting loud and saying she's just a slut
Mhm.
really loudly and stuff, more of that
He
cringe.
said, "Shut the fuck up." That bitch said, "Fuck you," and broke the fucking.
More of the cringe, more of the discomfort. I thought that scene there was
Everybody
powerful.
started clapping. Luna, everybody in the diner starts clapping and shit because they think like, "Oh yeah, this girl just stood up to her asshole boyfriend or
Hey,
something." Like,
she said after her husband died, she lost her job by having sex with everybody in the office.
everybody, all
That
like
shit
all
is
the people
funny
That
in
as
the
shit
office,
fuck,
like
bro. I ain't
crazy.
gonna lie.
Bro, 11 people, bro. Men and women. That's
Hey, and
wild as hell.
the dude that stopped by the house, he said he used to work with her, so I think he
hell
one of
yeah,
them.
He was one of the 11, bro.
He said she just texted me.
that shit
Bro,
is
that
I
shit's
will, I
hilarious.
so
will
funny.
say that with that scene, just like later on in that scene with the you're harassing me. I absolutely can't stand when a female has an angry outburst, people clap or people help her. When a male has an angry outburst, everybody's scared. People
Yeah, and
call
they're
the police,
defensive and yeah.
all that shit. In which that was a fucking great depiction of that because that is what happens in real life exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It still pisses me off that it happens.
Worst part of the movie to me. That's like probably the only part I hated when she was
Which
like,
part?
"Oh, you're harassing me." I'm like, bro,
Y'all,
come
yeah.
on,
So
man.
I say this, Puos. Yeah, I thought, same way y'all thought about that exactly. However, I realized that is what led to him having that little, his little episode, and then
Mm-hmm.
she had to calm him down and get him over. Like he was imagining the song in his head because they made that point to where the song triggers him, but also he hears the song sometime when it's not even
But
When
playing.
it's
Slim,
not there,
it's
yeah.
Mhm.
not a good moment of, oh, you helped me out when you caused it with
No,
something
Right.
that
I agree with that, but so from a perspective of watching this, she had to cause it in order for
no,
him to get the. No, I
I do
mean
not
in
agree
the
with that.
movie, like if
Anything
that
could
didn't
have
happen,
caused.
no, I'm saying
Like let's
like
just
in this,
say
yeah,
like remember when he went when his pops lost the game when he started freaking out and shit, like, nigga,
Mm-hmm.
you're a loser. She could have did it right there. Like it could have been that scene
she
where
had
she
already did it.
She
no
was she wasn't there.
I
She
know
wasn't there for that scene.
She
no
was there for that
yes
scene.
she
She
was.
was.
Yeah,
I'm
she
saying
was.
it could have been that scene.
She came in later. I mean, she came in a
It
little bit
didn't
later,
have
but
to be her telling a group of people he harassed her. Like that shit
So
is too
I
much.
agree with you
that's a
saying
fucking
that
scene.
about that line and her doing that in public because that's a sticky situation. That's a dangerous situation for like a
Very
man to be
dangerous.
in.
For a
However,
nigga who just got out the loony bin too, like,
that's a
bro,
fact.
come
When
on.
the cop pulled up, I
But
thought he was going back, bro.
Oh
Hell
God.
yeah.
Facts.
so I agree with that. But if I'm looking at it from like knowing that this is a movie, then I
It's
get it.
Slim reading the signs.
Yeah, I get it because that was the part that led to him overcoming his PTSD shit. So I get it. I don't agree with how they did it, but I get why they did it.
All right, so like I say, the couple more. Obviously, we kind of talked about, but like I think the football game scene was done very well. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Motherfuckers was out there. That's what I was gonna say, Bulls. I kind of fucked with the therapist, man. I thought he was kind of cool. You know what I'm saying? He out there
Yeah.
at the game and shit, all painted up. That motherfucker was being wild racist to the Indians, though, boy.
That's all he did.
That
Like
motherfucker like
that,
walked
that
up.
one scene was the only standout scene he had
Yeah, that's
They
the
was
because
only
finna
thing he
scrap.
did that was positive. Everything else
yeah,
was bullshit.
They was finna scrap. You know what I'm saying?
it was
Motherfucker
definitely
got
being
on
racist to
their
them
ass.
Indians.
Yeah,
Motherfucker
that shit
got
was
on
fucked
their
up.
ass. Boy, got
Which
their
is
ass beat.
I don't understand that. Like, bro, like I don't know if like I'm really super. I guess I'm not a super racist nigga unless it's some black ass shit. Hilarious.
Oh my god.
But I'm like, damn, ain't y'all niggas on the repping the same team?
Yeah, the
Why
same
you-
team. I'm
y'all
like, bro,
fake
what the
dick,
fuck?
nigga?
That nigga
Yeah,
started talking crazy to them Indians, man.
And
got
go
on
back
their
to your
ass,
country.
man.
You
That
smell
was
like
like,
curry.
I
Bro,
thought,
his
what was interesting
racism
though?
wasn't even witty. That's what
That
pissed
shit
me
was
off about it.
lame.
Yeah, no, it wasn't like a Spike Lee movie where we get the grotesque, the vulgar. Like I thought they did it very dry. Like go back to your country. It wasn't like no powerful like But I think this wasn't like a racial criticism movie. Like it
Yeah,
wasn't
it
trying to
wasn't
do
meant to
none of
be that
Yeah,
that.
they
type of
just
movie.
put that shit in there to start a fight.
Hey,
Yeah,
bro,
something to
Pat
start
got
a
on
fight.
somebody.
Yeah.
Pat got on them motherfucker ass. He was out here minding his business, and they started hitting his brother. He just knocked two people out clean with no fucking
Nah,
struggle,
facts.
nothing, boy.
I
I will
thought that was
say,
the
I
part that
will
was
say
gonna
if they
fuck him
just
up.
let
He
them
went
go
home
at it,
free.
Pat might have slayed everybody there.
Hell yeah, but yeah,
He'd have definitely stopped that whole fight by itself.
they go. You know,
Also, my bad, KTL.
oh, go
I got
ahead, bro.
when y'all talking about that his first like real
Damn, your shit
episode.
fucking
The
up,
mic
bro.
fucking up.
Oh, never
Now
mind.
that time that might have been kind of warranted, but it wasn't originally. But right,
I think
so that motherfucker, like he lost the game, man. He offered fucking 10 points on that parlay spread, boy.
Let
That
me speak
motherfucker.
on that on him as a whole though, KTL.
That's another thing. Mental illness. His dad definitely got a gambling addiction.
His dad
Yeah,
definitely had a gambling addiction, and also he had some shit because you remember he got banned from going to the games because they said he was beating niggas ass up there. But
Yeah, he's getting drunk, punching niggas the fuck out.
yeah, and so because specifically he mentioned that when he was talking to his therapist, he was like his dad was this explosion guy, like he got kicked out the games and banned from going to the games,
Yeah,
fighting people.
yeah,
I guess he was drunk, but I want to talk
yeah.
about Robert De Niro.
I was go ahead.
I just want to say something about his character. I feel like for his character for the entire movie, except the ending, his character was really only in the shit for like selfish gain. Like he was like kind of framing it as, hey, yeah, I want to have father son time. I want us to bond type shit. But he really just wanted him to be there because he's superstitious.
I don't
And he
agree
wanted.
with you, Slim. Because remember, he had that scene where he, like, he went and woke him up and he was like, man, I don't know. Maybe I spent too much time with your brother growing up and not enough time with you. He's worried that he's been a bad
KTL,
parent, and that's the
I
reason that his
agreed.
kid is fucked up, bro.
No, I agreed with that until he
The
went right
bet
back
came right
around and
after.
tried to get him to come back down for the game. So
No,
I
he
thought
did
that
that
same
shit.
thing.
So, like, I feel like it's like I feel like it's just like he's fucked up mentally. You know what I'm saying? Like he don't mean to be doing that shit, but it definitely always comes back around to like, oh yeah, this is what I know about and like what I can bond. Like I feel like maybe that's like one of the few things he
I
can bond
disagree.
with his son over.
I
With,
disagree.
You know,
The
he don't
reason
know
I
his kid
disagree,
like that.
the reason I disagree is because I don't think it had anything to do with bonding at all. Because every time this situation came up, he had money on the games. And so he wanted him to come back down there so they can win. Like the scene that you
But he
told him
always
about.
got money on the game, Slim. Like every game.
I mean, that's why he wants him to be there every game.
I'm
Like
just saying,
I can't take that out. I can't
think
take
we
that
can both
information
be
out.
right. I think we can like there's a case where both things are true. Like
So this is
he
what
don't
I
know how
think.
to bond with his kid aside from sports, and also he bets on every game. So he's like, yeah, I'm trying to win this money.
Well, this is what I think, KTL. Because even like there was a point where he replaced his son with Danny when Danny was sitting there holding the remotes and shit. So I don't know. I think he might be interchangeable when it comes to bonding over sports too. But what I
I don't
think
know because
is
the way he framed that, he said he's in this household because of you. Like he's an attachment of you. It's all because of you.
yeah. So that means he can get one of his friends to come and bond instead of him. But I don't want to dwell on that part. I want to kind of say that outside of that, because that's how I view his character in this movie until the very end. I feel like the very end, which wasn't really much, but he had the father-son talk with him basically about, the new girl and his wife.
Yeah.
And I think that was the part where he actually was talking because he gave a fuck about his son and what was going on. Everything else, I feel like, was kind of more personal gain, selfish gain. Whether or not he really wanted to see his son or not, he really just wanted him to be there for the games. We know that much. He wanted him to be there for the games. That last scene after they did the dancing shit, he was kind of having a heart to heart.
I wanted to talk about that scene
Yeah,
specifically
that's
with
that's the
Robert De
last scene
Niro.
I want to talk
He
about.
was that scene was so fucking dope, bro. And I feel like he has one of those scenes in every
Which
movie
scene
that he's like
specifically?
family to somebody, in which he
Which
did the same
which
thing
scene,
He
bro?
in
and the
Good.
father, the shit you
Oh,
just talked
when
about.
he was he grabbed
Yeah.
classic Italian dad thing, right? He's talking with one hand, and the other hand has him by like the neck or the side of the face or
Mhm.
something like that, and he's giving him a real serious talk, right? And it was very heartfelt, and I really fuck with that scene. Like I don't think anybody else can do Robert De Niro like Robert De Niro does, in these
Mhm.
types of scenes, in these types of situations. I really fucked with that.
You know
Yeah.
what else about that scene though?
What's up?
That was great for Robert De Niro's character, but the funny part is he talked to his son about it. His son had already did that.
Yeah,
His son had already
yeah.
did it.
Right.
Mhm.
And so I think that's kind of good for the son too, because it's like he acknowledges that. He hugged him right after that. Even though he
Right.
already knew, like, I know
Mhm.
what you're telling me. I've already done what you're
He
telling me. He didn't say any of
appreciated
that.
him for saying it.
Exactly. Facts. He appreciated it. And that's why I feel like that's one of the most genuine moments of like bonding that they had in this movie. It was that scene right there, even though it was
But
short.
I want to like talk about, the last thing I want to talk about, obviously, the big climax of the movie, the like big dance scene. I ain't gonna lie to y'all, man. You know what I'm saying? They made they bet, whatever, The first time I watched the movie, like I kind of thought they was wigging. You know what I'm saying?
Talking
Like
about the
he
dance
fucked up.
itself.
Yeah, and the dance shit, like they fucked up that big move. But other than that, I was like, damn, they kind of wigging. And then they went up there and got like a 5. Like it was good for like what it was, but I was like, damn, they was ass like that. Like,
Well, I get it. I think they did great, but I guess a point that they made early in the movie was that all the other dancers were professionals and they were
Right.
just amateurs.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, but
and
like I
so
thought it was gonna be a subversion of expectations where it's like, oh yeah, we're honored to compete, and then they go out there and just do some crazy shit and show like, damn, like they really are, like that.
yeah, I had a feeling it could have been something like that too. But I'm guessing that we're looking at it from that perspective that they're still just amateurs at the end of the day. Like the other dancers are sitting here laughing at them at the end type shit. So we're getting the thought that the other dancers were even better than them, even though we don't see it.
I thoroughly enjoyed the
I
dance
definitely
routine
see it.
personally, man.
I
I
did
don't
too.
know how y'all feel about it.
You said what? Somebody said something?
My mic still
That's
last?
cool.
No,
No, you
Nah, you
good.
good, bro.
All right, let's hurry up. Okay, yeah. So we actually do get to see other dancers, and they kind of wigging, going crazy
Oh
with
yeah,
them.
yeah. We
Ain't no
saw.
kinda. They was
They
going
only
crazy.
getting they only
Yeah,
getting
facts.
like 7.3s and shit like that. So
yeah.
I mean, what do you expect
But
the
that's
mother?
what I was thinking, bro. I was like, oh, okay, like they finna like, out of nowhere, like, damn, they got like an 8.9 and some shit. You know what I'm saying?
That
I
man
Yeah,
don't,
I
I
thought
was
don't, I
gonna
don't,
be the
he was
movie.
I
I
watching
don't
thought it
think
Dirty
was gonna be
Dancing or
movie
Footloose or some
logic and
shit.
not real life logic.
I
I'll
don't
say
think
that.
the
Yeah,
dancers
nah.
were laughing at them, Slim. I think that was like the crowd because the dancers like, damn, maybe next time a 5.
Hell yeah, and they was happy as fuck, boy. They said,
I
why are they
thought
so
that was
happy about a 5?
I thought that was funny as fuck when they started cheering
There you
and
go.
everybody looking around confused.
That fucking guy on the
Like,
mic
why the
says,
fuck
why
they
are they
so
so
happy
happy
about a
about a
5?
5?
Yeah, that shit was
I'm
fire.
telling
Like
you, homeboy, who's this homie of who lives with Veronica or whatever. What's his name?
Ronnie.
Ronnie. Yo, Ronnie is the man, yo. When he finished that performance, son, when it was like, "Let's go, Pat. I love you, Pat."
Yeah.
Yo,
And
he's the man, son.
something about Chris Tucker too. I think Chris Tucker's scene where he
Hey,
was helping
Danny
them
pulled
out with the
himself a
dance.
bad bitch too. I just wanted to say that. Go ahead, Slim.
Yeah. And speaking of Danny, I think the scene where he was helping them out with the dance, I think that was very pivotal. What the fuck? What was I going to say?
Pitiful. It was
Yeah,
He was
pitiful.
about to
I
say
was going to say some crazy
pinnacle.
shit. Yeah, it was very pivotal for this ending dance scene. I feel like because he kind of gave them that
A lot of that shit. Like,
yeah, he told them
Bro.
like put some black in it and get some
He
soul in
he
it and shit.
said black it up.
Black
He
it up,
said
yeah.
black it up. And that nigga Pat was like, what does that mean? He's like, you know exactly
he
what it
told
means.
that girl to throw some ass in it, boy. He
Right,
told her, he
facts.
said, hey.
He taught them all that shit pretty much that they was kind of
And the whole time, Pat trying
doing.
to like shoo him out the way because he jealous and shit that he dancing with his like what he thinks is his bitch and shit. Like,
Nah,
What's
for
funny
good
is
reason. First of all, he done had a bitch took from him before. And
hell
second,
yeah.
Danny was getting handsy as a bitch.
Yeah, so let me say
Boy,
something about
Danny
that.
was in there.
So what's funny about that is like I feel like we're kind of seeing like this internal battle with Pat too, because although we're seeing these signs to where he kind of likes her a little bit, he's still talking about Nikki over and over again. He wants this letter to go to Nikki, and so I think we was kind of seeing a little battle, you know, inside of him with that too, because he definitely jumped in front of Chris Tucker like while she was dancing. So
like, all right, nigga, that's enough.
When he first met Jennifer, I said Jennifer because I named Jennifer. But when he first met Tiffany, the therapist was like, "You having an internal battle with yourself because you want to like her because you still want." Yeah, so that's definitely what's happening.
But
yeah, he felt like he was cheating, which is crazy.
That's a fact. But yeah, so like that's about it. I think everybody kind of like, if y'all want to talk about y'all favorite scenes, because I just want to mention my favorite scene. Like I really like, I liked the way that the movie, not like the end, but like right before the end, you know, right after the dance and shit, where like he goes and get that bitch the final letter. You know what I'm saying? Like that's my favorite scene from the movie, I think. You know, like he had that bitch read that letter that he done wrote and shit.
he wrote that bitch a week before.
Yeah, a week before.
I'll go next. That my favorite scene was actually like 10, 15 minutes before that, right? So Tiffany sees Nikki, starts freaking the fuck out, goes straight to the bar. That nigga Pat walk around looking for her and shit. He see Nikki, still continue to look for her. He see her over there with some nigga. He walked straight over there, bumped the shit out that nigga. Didn't even acknowledge him. And say, hey, what's going on with you?
But he said, why don't you leave her alone? He said, why don't you shut the fuck
he's like, hey,
up?
bro,
Like,
why don't you shut the fuck up? Get the fuck out my face. And then go right back to her. He ain't had no big ass explosion or no fucking mental meltdown. Nah, you insignificant,
you a
my boy.
dancer, boy.
I'm talking to my bitch.
Knuckles on you. Like, stop playing with
I'm
me.
talking to my bitch right now. And then he set her straight. Like, look, I don't know what decisions you done made, but you got to deal with them. Get your ass up. We got some shit to do. So I fuck with that scene.
And also reflecting on everything, now that we've seen the movie, I like how they did that entire last scene, because what we see is Pat already realized that he liked her. He already actually he said he loved her, really. He already realized it by this point because he wrote the letter a week before. So now reflecting on it, we're looking at that scene and we can see, okay, this is Pat reacting the way that he is because he feels these feelings for her that they show at the end of the movie.
She keeping him in the dark, meanwhile he's like keeping her in the dark. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right. So when I first found out that, you know, whenever they showed us that she wrote the letters and it wasn't actually Nikki, I thought it was going to be some whole other shit. I didn't expect it to go that way.
Yeah, I thought he was going to hoe her or some shit, end up like not the dance or some shit like that.
It was definitely, and then when Nikki shows up, like it's definitely like a subversion of expectation. Like you're like, oh shit, I don't know what the fuck misdirection here. But
Mr. Bob Celeste, what's your favorite scene, my boy?
Favorite scene of the movie?
Yes.
Damn, there are a lot of really great scenes in this movie, to be honest. I think that the dance sequence had a lot, you know, riding on it in terms of the bit, and that combined with what I thought was just like a explosive, like kind of passionate moment for the female and male lead. I thought that was definitely somewhat electrifying. I thought they did that very well. And then besides that, I mean, you know, I guess maybe the closing scene was good, just like them as a family and shit. I thought that was a nice way to tie.
Scene was amazing as well, I feel like.
But you know, throughout the movie, just a lot of powerful scenes. It's really hard to say, you know. In some, it is just it kind of had like a thing where like the tension kept on rising, like as it progressed. So it was definitely kind of like a roller coaster. It was a good movie.
Yeah.
Yep. John, you got anything to say, bro?
Yeah, John. If you can talk, can you talk, John?
Yeah, you can go ahead. Pull up something until he come off. You can go ahead.
All right, I'm gonna go since my man's not talking. But the same scene that Roof said might be my favorite one, but for a different reason. Like, I feel like Roof's was enjoyed that dude walked up and was like, "Man, get your ass on! Like, we need to do this." But it was the tension for me. Like, bro, you know how much riding on this fucking dance you over here getting fucked up because you seen Nikki. I'm like, to me, the whole time when I seen her ask for that drink, I'm like, damn, bro, you need to find this bitch so so she can get right. Like, don't let her get too fucked up because
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
sloppy. Like, it was just, bro. I don't feel tension in any movies. Like, I only felt that way like watching Crash and this, like at that very scene. So anything that provokes emotion out of me is going to be my favorite scene. And the other scene that I like was when like he seen Nikki and he was acting normal. Yeah, I'm good. How you doing? Cool. Give you a hug. Where my real bitch at? I'm over you. The character development, the character development was insane because this nigga been dick sucking Nikki the whole time. Like, oh, blow up Nikki, the whole movie. Then he finally seen her and he was over that bitch and he wanted to go get his real bitch. That shit was fire to me. So those is my two favorite scenes.
Hell yeah.
All right, so I mean, it sounds like we didn't cover just about everything. If anybody wants to get a final thoughts and a rating, Black Shirt Guy, it's on you.
Nigga stole my job.
Yep.
It's a good year. Yo, so let me be honest. I wanted to not like this movie because I haven't actually watched a romantic comedy in a while, and because KTL picked it, I wanted to hate it. But
Salute, bro.
I actually fuck with this movie, bro. I used to be a big romantic comedy like person. Like just watching white people do goofy shit in movies is hella fucking funny to me or whatever, right? I would say this is probably like top 5 of the romantic comedies that I've seen. Not of all time. Don't fucking kill me for all you fucking white people out there that be watching this shit all the fucking time and have your own list or whatever the fuck.
You good, John? Not man.
This was like a really fucking good movie for me. Like Puo said, you know, it was some real like emotion moving points in this scene. You know, they portrayed real life very well in this movie and shit, bro. So I really fuck with this shit. It was shot really great. The characters were great, even though I felt like the Danny shit was a little bit too much at times, just because I know who Chris Tucker is, just like I'm pretty sure everybody else on this panel does. I didn't expect that part from him, but I feel like that was a good part for him. You know, with him being at that point, you know, a newer version of himself in real life, why not portray a different, you know, version of himself on screen?
Mm-hmm.
So all that being said, I'm gonna give this movie an 8.2, bro.
All right, Robert Celeste.
Yeah, you can hear me?
Celestin? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, man. This I'm glad that we got to do some like romance drama type of shit on here because I feel like, you know, our range with this podcast just keeps expanding. I felt like I was engaged with this movie at a runtime of 2 hours. It's usually hard for me to not ADHD during these shits, but this one I think they developed it really well through its plot and like kind of had you glued to your seat. I thought that this movie dealt with some difficult themes of like mental health and stigma. I thought that the acting was very good and it carried the strong writing. I thought that the way that the plot was paced throughout the long run time of the movie was justified. I didn't feel like anything was necessarily dragged on or I was hoping for the scene to end, which is something that very few movies do. Um, Overall, just a really great sort of touching film, I guess, and definitely not like any of the shit I've watched recently. I'm actually surprised at how good the movie was made, like overall, and I'm still like kind of wondering like what is it about this formula because we've watched great movies on this podcast, but there's something that's just like essentially like correct about the way they did this movie. All to say, this movie here was definitely a good one. I recommend that shit to anybody. Don't watch it, I think, while you're in a relationship because I think it'd be pretty intense. A 9.1.
All right. Are we gonna say John's rating, Slim, or what do you want to do?
Yeah, John gave it an 8.2. He had to step up.
All right. Here's a little bit of insight, right? A lot of the movies that I've suggested are like I have a list in my phone of like my favorite movies, you know what I'm saying? And that's what I draw on currently, you know, until I run out for this podcast. So that to say, this is definitely like one of my favorite movies since I've first seen it. This is probably at least the third or fourth time I've seen it, and I enjoy it every time. But I will say, like, I had a little bit of trouble going into this knowing that I was going to rate it this time. So it might be less now than what it was when I first originally watched it, but I think that this is a very good movie. You know what I'm saying? I think that, like, in our modern society, motherfuckers, like, men aren't, supposed to watch romantic comedies and shit like that, shit like that. But I enjoy these type of movies immensely, man. Like, some shit that actually is well made and can provoke an emotion from you. I think that that's a very wonderful thing. So I say that to say, like I say, it's a little bit low due to subsequent rewatches, but I'm still going to give the movie like an 8.5. You know what I'm saying? I definitely would recommend anyone watch it. If you haven't seen it, I think that it gives a lot of good themes, tells a good story. There's good acting. I can't really think of some bad things about it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm going to go ahead with an 8.5.
Yeah, for me, I think it was a really good movie. I don't really have too much to say. I think I kind of said a lot during the podcast. Yeah, but I think it was a good movie. I think the actors in the movie were all good. Having Bradley Cooper and Jennifer Lawrence as the leads works really well. Like somebody mentioned earlier, they got really good chemistry together. Anytime they was on screen together, I think that shit was really good. The pacing was really good. I feel like after the first like 20 minutes, maybe. At the beginning, they're really setting shit up. So it's like I'm watching it, and it's like, okay, guy with, he's in a mental hospital. He's getting out. It's like just regular shit. Not really nothing too much going on. It's a 2 hour and something minute movie. Or it might be a 2 hour movie. So the first 15, 20 minutes not really that significant. But I think I was really engaged with this movie throughout. Outside of that, it really had my attention. I was really interested in it. I don't really have much bad to say about this movie, honestly. I will say a couple of the scenes where we talked about like the chaos or like the awkwardness that was there. It kind of reminds me of what they tried to do in Uncut Gems with Adam Sandler. It was just like a lot of fucking chaos intentionally, but for me, it was terrible. I couldn't sit through that shit that they were doing in that movie. Because of that. I watched it, but I don't think I could watch it again because of that shit. In this one, I actually liked the way they did it. It was intentional awkwardness, but it served a purpose. And I also think that it wasn't just overbearing. It was just like enough to make us see what these characters are about, like what type of personalities they have, type shit. And it was actually entertaining to me once I got used to it. So yeah, I don't think I have any complaints about this movie. It was a good movie. So for me, I rank it a 9 out of 10. I was thinking 8.5 while I was watching it. And then, like KTL said, when it got to the conclusion of the movie, like the ending of the movie, like the last 2 or 3 scenes, maybe, like that's really what bumped the score up for me. I was like, yeah, this shit really inspired. It came to a close really nicely, type shit. Even though I kind of predicted some of what was going to happen, it was still good when I watched it. So, yeah, I got a 9. So, who else?
My mic good?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to tell KTL, great pick, man. And I want him to come off mute when I ask him this. Can you come off mute real fast?
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
What made you watch this movie? Like, how did you, like, was you in a relationship and your girl wanted to watch it, or are you just
back, this movie came out in like 2012, I believe. It's 2012, 2014. It was one of those years, right? So I was in a relationship with a girl at that time, and I was over at her house, and I think the movie, it was like when it had just hit DVD, so it was still relatively new. And that was the first time I saw it. I saw it with her and her mother. You know what I'm saying? I think her sister was there too. So yeah, like I saw this when I was in a relationship at the time.
Okay.
Justifiable.
I was gonna say because shit like this don't ever cross my desk. I would never watch no shit like this on my own. But I'm happy I did, and I appreciate the pick. It was fire. Like y'all said, great chemistry, and I never was really Jennifer Lawrence. She's so pretty, and I am now. Like she was gorgeous this whole movie. Like especially the dance scene. I was like, damn, bro, this bitch beautiful. Like the whole dance scene. I'm like, damn. But yeah, man, great movie. Good shit, KTF. I didn't expect that because your ass. But good pick. I'm gonna go. What did I give Crash? I can't go over Crash. I'm gonna give it a 8.5. Great movie though, man.
That's crazy. You gave Crash 8.4.
What?
Doesn't matter.
No, I'm lying.
I probably did though. Look, yeah.
With that being said, for the Silver Linings Playbook, we have a 8.5 rating.
Fire.
All right. And so for next week's movie, it will be chosen by Black Shirt Guy. So Black Roots, man, what we got?
Yeah, nigga. Enough of all that cute lovey-dovey shit. Getting some dramatic shit, some shit that's gonna yeah, all that, nigga. Yeah. So next week we gonna be reviewing 2015 Owen Wilson.
Okay.
No Escape, bro. No Escape.
Yeah, you said
Just
this
to
to
give
me
a
2
little
weeks ago.
smidge, a little synopsis. These motherfuckers fucked off in the country.
No.
And they're trying to get out.
No.
Fuck that. Say what I said.
Don't. Next week.
What the hell?
Oh wait, hold on.
Next week.
Shout out Owen Wilson, man. That's a classic 2000s actor.
Nigga ass.
That nigga fire now. You tripping, Pulls.
That's the nigga from his brother is Luke Wilson, right?
I think so.
Wedding Crashers. That's Owen Wilson.
Yes, that's him.
Okay.
All right, man. We will be back next week with No Escape, man. 2015. Owen Wilson. This has been another episode of the Real Rap Coalition podcast, man, and we are out.